To look at a couple of the things on the schedule. Volleyball is home again tomorrow night against number 5 Texas. That's at 6 o'clock. And then this weekend they'll be up in Waco in a tournament. They'll play St. Mary's on Friday, and then number 20 Baylor on Sunday. Golf also gets going this week. They open a tournament in Ruston on Sunday, and soccer is still on their road trip. They'll be playing at Lemoore at 6 o'clock. So just a reminder, anybody on Zoom, et cetera, if you're going to ask any questions, please raise your hand. We'll take your questions after we've taken those from the people in the audience. Andrew and Ty Morris here, along with head coach. We'll bring up coach.
Hey, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Hey, first off, let's pump up. Let's get everybody here as we host Texas for our volleyball team this week. What a great matchup here on our campus for our volleyball team. So hopefully everybody get out and support. And certainly getting back home. A quick statement. Turn the page real quick, but excited about what a great road win for our program. But turn the page quickly to prepare for a home opener, and look forward to talking to you about that today. So I'll open up to questions. And what do you have for me today?
How'd you feel about special teams last week, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were solid. A couple of penalties, right? But there are a couple of moments that really probably only show up on film that you find yourself really excited about, right? They came after one of the punts. Our punt operation picked it up, made the right check in the moment, collected their rush, and we got off a great punt, right? Now, what does that look like in stats? I don't care. We got it off. We fielded the punt. I thought, we were a little probably slow on getting down the field. We outkicked our coverage one time. But other than that, I thought the special teams really did their job to give the program a chance to win a football game. And for definitely an area that as we now take the next step as a program, how we grow in that area, that we're looking forward to seeing that as well.
And then your first chance seeing this offense live action at Rice, one thing that you really liked and then one thing you think that y'all could improve going into week 2?
I loved our poise and composure as we opened the game, right? That first half, I think is really difficult for what we do offensively going into week 1 because, the opponent has 4 or 5 weeks to prepare for our option schemes. That's very advantageous for your opponent in our style of offense. And so to have the composure and to execute at the high level we did to start the game in that first half, I'm incredibly proud of. And I thought our guys did a great job. And there was a few adjustments after the first drive that we really hadn't planned on because you're not sure what you're going to get. So we asked Chase in his first start ever to read guys at second and third level in our run game. And I thought they did a great job of that early on. Now, looking ahead, what are areas we can grow in? We missed some really, really good opportunities for some explosive plays, and we just missed on them, right? A block here or there, a decision here or there. And that's an area that we really want to grow in. We love that we control the clock. I thought it set the tempo of the game, right? I think they got 1 drive in the first quarter. But at the end of the day, also the opportunity to score points is real, and we didn't take advantage of all those opportunities in week 1. And our guys know that. That's why you get the opportunity to play your first game. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how we grow from that.
And then historically, how have you approached rivalry games as a coach, and what have you learned about this one?
It's the next game. That's how I've approached them my entire career. I think the hype over the games will take care of themselves. The energy of the game will take care of itself, right? That, my job is to get our program prepared to play at their very best come Saturday night, and this is a historic rivalry, right? That in the city of Houston, a lot of people care about it, right? Since the day I was hired and I arrived, people have asked me about the Bayou Bucket, and are you excited to have Houston playing at Rice this year, and what are your thoughts about it? And my thoughts are, I think we're excited for the opportunity ahead of us. Right, we have a Big 12 team coming to our home, that doesn't always happen in today's climate, where a group of 6, group of 5 program gets a Power 4 team to their campus. So we have that opportunity this week. I'm really excited about that. I know our guys are excited about the rivalry. They know each other across the city. Some of them played high school ball together, right? They see each other during the summer when everyone's time's a little freer. So, they'll have probably different feelings than I do. For me, I'm excited to see how our team grows from week 1 to 2. I'm excited that we have an opportunity against such a quality program coming out of the Big 12 to measure our own program against. And those are the things that I'll focus on.
As a coach, when you're looking at the film, what do you see from a Willie Fritz coach team compared to what he's done in the tradition of success?
Well, if you know Coach Fritz, you know the defensive-minded coach that he is, and his defenses are always very athletic. They use a variety of schemes to disguise stuff, and they fly to the football. And that's the first thing that jumps off at me, right? They look like a Coach Fritz defense, and they fly to the football. They're very athletic. They certainly made some roster movement and changes in the offseason. That shows up. And so they're a talented football team, right? They're now beginning to find who they are, right, as they head into week 2. And, just like us, everybody wants to see what the difference is between week 1 and week 2 in their programs. And I'm sure they're focusing on the same things.
And what does Wegman do that stands out on film? Quarterback Connor Wegman.
He's just very poised, very mature. You can see that. You can see that he's, played a lot of snaps in his career. He's been in some big moments. I think what jumps off me, doesn't force a play, doesn't make a mistake out there, right? I think you could see him getting more comfortable with his talent around him as week 1 went on. Right. So many new guys on the roster coming in, and that's not always easy for quarterbacks to get comfortable with the skill sets around them. And you saw that happening throughout that game. And I think that's a really credit to him and his maturity in helping some of those guys adapt to a new system and grow with him.
Coach, with the system that you run and the way your offensive line blocks, were you pleased with what you saw last week? And as you get into this game, get ready for this game versus your base, what would you like to see? What's your preference there?
Yeah, I was pleased with us up front. I thought we controlled the line of scrimmage really all day, right? There's so many read concepts in our system. People watching it live probably really don't quite understand what we're looking at, what we're reading, and it's very hard to read everything correctly. In 90% of our snaps, our quarterbacks are having to make decisions in either run or pass after the ball's been snapped, right? They're reading defenders. That's incredibly difficult. And so, and sometimes the offensive line, their job is one thing while the skill set's another, and it may not always look like they match up together, when you see a play unfold. But up front, I was incredibly pleased. I think there's so much room for growth, though, as now they've played their first game in this system and what to expect. And, and I will take, when I talk about our skill set blocking out wide, right, understanding what we're trying to achieve, all around very pleased, but a lot of room to grow. There are lost plays out there is what I call them, right? Or you're playing with 10. We're better when we play with 11, and we really want to cut down on the miscues. We want to cut down on the missed opportunities. And I think that's important when you talk about how do you keep drives alive, right? How do you convert? How do you not get behind the sticks? And some of it's on me, right? As a play caller, right? I'm going to speak to one specific play in the game, right? We come out at half. I think everybody would agree we were in full control of the game. We get a 3-and-out by our defense, force a punt. They pin us on the 8, and we pick up right where we left off on offense, right? We go right down the field. It's 2nd and 6. We're on the +40 going in. We're probably 8 yards from a field goal attempt. And I went for a home run hit on a play call on 2nd and 6. I don't really regret it, but I call that one on me. It didn't hit. We took a 6-yard loss. Now you're out of field goal range. You're 3rd and 11, right? It's a missed opportunity because there was an opportunity there that we missed on. I take part ownership in that. And all that's learning your skill sets, what we're capable of in the moment. So, those are when I talk about understanding each other, getting comfortable in the scheme. There's a lot that goes into that. When people see a rushing team, they think, well, how hard is it they're handing the football off? We're never just handing the football off. I mean, we are never doing that, right? Q-Jack and Dalen got out on the outside a couple of times because Chase is making a good read on a nose guard. So think about that for a minute, like not blocking a nose guard. There were 7 times that game we didn't block a nose guard. We read him. And so that's not easy. That's difficult. And then finding what our team's comfortable with, what they can handle. And that's kind of what week 1 was about as well.
That's a question I have for you. In terms of the physical nature of this game coming up, can you talk about that? U of H, big up front.
Yeah.
Nasty. Your offensive line, you felt pretty good about them. Can you talk about that matchup?
Well, I think it's one of the key matchups probably, right? But I say on both sides of the football. I think teams and games are controlled by the line of scrimmage. If you can win the battle on the line of scrimmage on both sides, which I thought we did last week, you give your program a better chance to win a football game. And so I think it's a key, and we can talk about it every week, but can we win the line of scrimmage on both sides? And it will be a physical game, but we expect to be in a physical game every week, right? And we won that battle last week. I challenged our team. Could we be the most physical team at Louisiana? And we were. And that showed up at the end of the night. And so that will be a challenge. There's no doubt about it. I think they're big. I think they want to be physical. And so we have to be ready and prepare all week to match that physicality.
We talked this offseason about your running back room, how much you liked it. We kind of knew what Quentin Jackson was. What did you see from Dalen on Saturday? What does he bring to this offense?
Well, they have some similarities, but at the same time, Dalen's a bigger guy, right? And you saw that show up Saturday, right? You saw him come out of the pile a couple of times. You saw him get loose, but Dalen's got great quickness, got really good vision, and I think they fed off each other Saturday, and I do love that room. That's not a secret. Dalen really as a running back probably has as many snaps coming into the season as anybody on roster. And he's had a great camp. He had a great spring, right? And so I'm really proud of him, because I know he's overcome some injuries in his career. I thought he had a great week 1, and I'm excited to see now where it goes from here with him and that whole room.
All right, we're going to take a question from Zoom. Joseph Duarte from the Chronicle. Go ahead.
Hey, Scott. Scott, I was wondering, when you got here, did you have any conversations with Dean Connors, or was he already in the portal? And if you did, just, having a guy who goes to a school that happens to be on your schedule and was a pretty productive guy at Rice, what that challenge is?
Well, first I'll tell you, when I arrived, Dean was preparing for the NFL because his eligibility was up. And so he had already finished his time here at Rice. He had already moved on, moved out of his apartment, preparing for combines. And then the NCAA made a change in policy to allow a waiver to young men that had played junior college. And that allowed Dean to have another year of eligibility. That did not happen until January, right? So when that happened, Dean had already had kind of moved on from the program. I had a brief conversation with him just to see what his plans were. Was his thought maybe to come back here, but he'd finished, he graduated. Maybe it would have been tougher than not. So he looked at his options and he landed at Houston. My thoughts on him landing at Houston, that's just kind of where he landed. I don't put any more thought into that. And, he's a member of their program, and we're preparing to take on Houston Saturday. So this is not Rice against Dean Connors. This is Rice and Houston are playing Saturday night.
And you mentioned about what people had told you about the Bayou Bucket. There's no games beyond this year scheduled. Is that something you'd like to continue just based on how close it is and sort of a game between two teams from the same city?
Well, I haven't put a ton of thought into that just because of how busy my life has been since I've arrived. I'll leave that up to the powers of the two campuses, to be honest, right? My job is to get our football program ready each week, no matter who we're playing. And so I'm just I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to be grateful that I'm a part of this rivalry and I had this opportunity this year. And, we'll see what the future holds for both programs.
Anything else from anybody on Zoom? All right, thank you, Coach.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Go Owls.
Bring up Ty Morris.
Hello.
Ty, I know we talked after the game. You had IV fluids in you. You were pretty dehydrated. Now that you've had some time to rest, how would you assess what you guys were able to do, especially in the second half?
In the second half, we just wanted to keep the same energy that we had in the first half. Play fast, play physical, do our technique, and do our assignment. Just keep the momentum going on for the full 60 minutes.
What's the biggest challenge you face going up against Houston this week?
The biggest challenge is not to beat ourselves. We're just playing our game, the same thing that we did with ULL. Be fast, be physical, and do our job and stick to our game plan and stay poised throughout the whole game.
And then one touchdown a lot on defense is not bad for an opener. How do you take that and still find the motivation to even lower that?
The one touchdown, it's always stuff to improve on. Like the one touchdown was maybe like thing that we did that we beat ourselves that we could have prevented that touchdown. So there's always things to have like for the motivation. Like we wanted that shutout, so second half shutout. So it's always things that we could have did to prevent that, but it's always good. We want to carry that into UH.
And then Coach talked about his newness to this rivalry. What does it mean to you as a guy who's been in there with the live action?
It's just another game to me. Especially me being a hometown kid, being from Houston. It's awesome to play those kids over there in Third Ward, but it's a fun rivalry, especially me, my freshman when we won. It was a nice feeling in that locker room. I want to get that again.
What's it like playing against a former teammate? Any playful text or like extra oomph on a tackle this week?
It's good. We had some good rivalries in the spring when we went to the intermediate scrimmages. So it's just kind of the same thing, but we're going against UH. We're not going Rice versus Dean Connor. So yeah.
Talk about Dalen here today. What his impact? I know another side of the ball, but what's that been like to see his maturation coming back from what he's come back to?
It's awesome to see Dalen, especially coming back from last season, not really playing as much due to injury, but it's awesome to see him back out there competing, especially we got a little taste of him in the spring and in the fall camp, so it's always good to see him go out there and compete and bring energy.
Better to see him running against somebody else than running against
Yes, sir, definitely.
Talk about how well the defense played last week, and you guys, the ferocity, I guess.
Yeah, we just something we've been preaching. The theme of the week last week was poise, just having poise no matter the ups or downs, just to always stay in the middle. And we just come out there, wanted to be the most physical team, being the most aggressive team, and stick to our game plan.
University of Houston, crosstown rival.
Yes, sir.
Talk about that. You got guys over there, they know you guys over here. Talk about that. Trash talking in between, just what's going on?
It's all business, right? As of right now, we let our past do the talking. So, and it's going to be a great game on Saturday at 6:00. So stay tuned.
And I want to ask you, going back to the Louisiana game, you made some big hits in your life and made a business tackling. Can you talk me through that? You had a coverage play late in the fourth quarter going down the seam. How have you kind of seen that part of your game grow? And then what was it like being in that moment and making that play?
We always, especially being a linebacker now, it's not just all just tackling and hitting. So you got to grow the aspects of covering. We work on that dang near every day, and Indy just work on covering because you never know when you're going to get put in that situation, especially the time in the fourth quarter with a minute, 30 seconds left. So I just rely on my training and go back to that.
All right, any questions on Zoom for Todd? Yeah, Steve, go ahead.
Ty, what were some of your takeaways from watching Connor Wigman in his opener and the Houston offense?
I played against Connor Wigman in high school, actually. So he has a strong arm. He can extend plays with his leg, make good reads, poised in the pocket. So it's going to be a fun matchup to go against, especially playing against them in high school. But they beat us in the second round. So, yeah, love to get back out there and get that dub.
And then for defensively, how big is Blake Banish's presence in there and just disrupting opposing offensive lines?
It's going to be huge. He's a monster up front, causing havoc throughout destroying their schemes, and it's going to be big. And for him to cause havoc, then me and Andrew flow over the top, and along with the back end, the third level, it's going to be good. They're going to be making plays after that.
Anything else? Next time. Jalen?
Dalen, personally for you, how satisfying was that win?
It was good to get back on the field. I haven't played in 2 years, so of course it's great to start the season off with a win.
And going from week 1 to week 2, where do you need to have the biggest growth, do you feel?
Just executing more, finishing blocks, finishing runs, just sticking to my tracks. Just little things, just staying detail oriented.
And then you kind of got your first dose on the field here at Rice as the goal line back. What's it like being trusted in a bigger role and carrying the ball all down the field?
It's great. I always felt like I had the ability to do that. I just had to, wait my turn. It's great. I just want to keep showing it off as the season goes on.
I feel like, every 1-2 punch at running back over the years is like a nickname or something. You and Q Jack figured that out. You got a name for yourselves?
Nah, we haven't talked about that yet. I might have to talk to him about it today after practice. So, yeah.
What did it mean getting that win for Coach Abel and so many new faces, players, but the coaching staff and the new type of culture? What did that mean Saturday?
It's big, to start off a season with the win. The first game means a lot as far as momentum and how things are going, especially with Coach Abel coming in his first game. It definitely means a lot. We want to keep the win train going on. So, yeah.
And Coach talked about all your attributes, the vision and whatnot. Do you have running back influences that you kind of pattern your game, if that's the way to phrase it, or who influenced you for those talents?
Growing up, my favorite running backs were Alvin Kamara, Le'Veon Bell. Guys who could kind of be patient but run behind their pads still. I think those are two influences for sure.
I guess Q Jack at 165, you're 215. You're obviously a downhill runner. Talk about being that guy who has to, take on the heavy load.
Me and Q Jack, we have, even though we weigh like a big amount of difference, I feel like we kind of offer the same thing, but also different things. We could both take hits. We could both run really fast, make guys miss. But yeah, definitely sometimes I have to stick my nose in on third downs, fourth downs to go and get it.
How much do you know about this rivalry between U of H and Rice and the whatever that thing is, that trophy?
Yeah, the bucket means a lot to us. We wanna go get it. It's another game to us, but we do want to go win the trophy. And no one wants to lose the bucket. I'm sure when we won a couple years ago, they took that personal. So we lost last year. We want to go get it back for sure.
How well do you know that University of Houston team? You got any friends on the team, or any guys you know?
A couple guys I played in high school. Trey McCutcheon, we play on the same 7-on-7 team. He's gonna be out there. Rayshawn Sanford, he was a running back over there. I think he got hurt for the season, but yeah, those two guys.
In the locker room is the attitude, this is our biggest rival and it's the last scheduled one for a while. What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, we take this rivalry kind of seriously, but we want to kind of, stay level-headed in the locker room. Just treat it like every other game. Just take every day one at a time. so we could be strong on Saturday.
And then it's been more than a decade since Rice has started 2-0. How do you realize the opportunity in front of you and then still make it one game?
You know, records and things like that are meant to be broken. You know, it's been a long time, but this is the time that we want to change it.
Any questions on Zoom? Go ahead, Steve.
Hi, Dalen. What are some of your recollections of that last Bayou bucket played at Rice Stadium where you yourself had 3 touchdowns?
I think it was a hard fought game. You know, we got out early with the lead, and then we kind of slowed down in the second half. You know, we want to bring the same intensity all 4 quarters this time. Try to get our fan base out there. You know, the fans mean a lot to us, so we would definitely want to pack the crowds this weekend.
And then has anything stood out to you about the Houston defense? I know they pitched a shutout against Stephen F. Austin last week.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of film from them. They run to the ball really well. They play hard. They got some hard hitters, so we got to bring it this week.
Anything else? Thank you, Dalen. I will see everybody on Saturday night.
Just for my own knowledge, Aaron Turner touchdown. Yeah. I've been geeking out for a week. It's wonderful. What do you call this? The slot receiver comes across the exit. Is it sweep? We call it it's a counter. Okay. It's like you're mimicking a counter. Okay. I was just it's our version. Okay. Because I was just sitting there, I'm like,
Because we
it's
pull
not
it,
a sweep, it's kind of
just
reverse.
we pull a tackle,
Yeah.
and we get the running back out front. It's something that gets overlooked a lot.
I was just sitting there, there were like 4 or 5 plays where just Pat Allen is taking out 2 guys by himself.
Well, those plays, those are plays. Some of those were reading those. Chase, give him a little more, a little more